Yo, welcome back to another episode of the D Will Show. I am your host, D Will. This is the first episode of 2025. It's definitely been a long journey, but I appreciate everybody that's been supportive of the pod this long. This is episode 144. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the D Will Show, where I have over 100 plus episodes of former NBA players, coaches, pro players with great stories. So be sure to go follow and subscribe on YouTube. Also, like and follow us wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google. Be sure to go like and 5-star over there for me. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, 27 Horizon. If you guys need any creative design needs, DJ, photography, anything of that sort, be sure to give those guys a follow. They will definitely make your event one to remember. Now to introduce our guest for tonight, I had to go back to my alma mater to get this guy, seen him in action a few times. Definitely a fan of his game. Shout out to my guy PG for setting this up. He's a 3-year varsity player. He's a 2-time all conference player. He's a second team all Pontiac. He's a 1,000-point scorer, and he has a GPA of a 4.7. You guys help me welcome to the show, Alex Gossett.
Thank
Alex,
you.
how you feeling, man? I appreciate you, bro.
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. Again, fan of your game, bro. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. To jump right into it, man, kind of take us through your upbringing and kind of what got you involved in sports.
So I don't know, pretty normal childhood. I guess I was always like watching sports, doing stuff like that. The first sport I actually really cared about was baseball because
Okay,
when
okay,
the Cubs were building, my dad's a huge baseball fan, a huge Cubs fan. So my first love was really baseball, but I never had a chance to play because like my
okay,
birthday was late, so I would have had to play with the kids a year younger than me. So
got you.
my family and I didn't go through with that, and I started playing basketball. I think second, third grade, and then Park District. Some guy saw me there, or Coach Foster, not some guy. Coach Foster, he's my first AE coach. He saw me there, and then told me to said come to Impact, come play with us, and it was just went from there. Yeah.
Okay, now were you already playing ball around that time, like around, as a kid, we kind of played everything growing up, or did you kind of start from the beginning and then had to build up, your skill set, or did you have talent already?
No, I wasn't. I was just like tall and athletic. I wasn't naturally
Okay,
talented. So I had to build. Like it's not like the first time I ever touched a basketball was when I was in second, third grade, but um, that's when I first started like playing a lot.
okay, okay. Growing up, when you really started to get into playing ball, who was your favorite player growing up? Who were you kind of watching to kind of, help you fall in love with the game more?
That was Kawhi Leonard for sure. I loved him, and I didn't
Good
watch him
call.
last when the Spurs won their last championship, but when Kawhi became like that All NBA type of guy, that's when I was watching basketball a lot, and I really liked his game. I liked how quiet he was, how he's like an assassin, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then when he went to Toronto and obviously did his thing there, that was amazing for me. I really loved it.
Facts.
He came to the city 1 year, changed the culture, and then left. I would have liked him to stay, but like he
Facts.
did what he set out to do. So he's my favorite player.
Facts.
Then
Facts. That shot, man, that shot he hit was crazy, man. When he was like in the corner like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then see.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. My bad. I was just
No, I
jumping
was
in.
gonna
I
say,
cut you off.
no, as he got hurt and stuff. Now my favorite player is Ant for sure. I love Anthony Edwards.
Okay. What you like from Ant Man? That dude's different, man.
Well, it's just his mentality. You don't really see that much anymore. There's only a few. He has like the X factor, I guess. I call it. Only a
Facts.
few people have that, and he's one of the people I think has that.
Facts. Facts. And he's tough, man. He's like you can't talk him down. You don't always talk junk, but he gonna back it up. So definitely Ant Man, man. For you, coming this far, started playing ball in the second grade. Do you have a favorite memorable moment right now? I know you're still kind of young, still kind of early for you, but do you have a memory from you playing ball that you kind of cherish to this moment?
Hmm. I'm not really sure. I got some from high school, but I think we're gonna get into that later. So I'll kind of save that. I don't really have any like distinct youth memories from youth basketball.
Okay. Okay. Like I said, you're still young, man. You still got a long ways to go. Um, coming up, I know you talked about starting with Impact. Just take us through, kind of your AAU career. I know you played for Breakaway, played for Impact. Did you play for any other teams, and what were some of your favorite memories playing AAU ball?
Yeah, so I played for Impact from so like third, fourth grade to all up until eighth grade summer. So summer going into my freshman year, and then my freshman year going into my sophomore year, I played for Ronnie Fields Elite, and
Okay,
then 16 or 17 years I played for Breakaway. On,
okay, okay.
on the top team, and it was always just a lot of fun, and playing when I was like younger, going on the road trips and stuff, like being in middle school. I remember one time we were like playing outside, and this kid, I think he actually committed to Akron. I forgot his name, but he graduated a couple of years ago. We were just playing. He's a couple years older than me, but he was in the Impact organization. But he blocked my. There was a the hotel was on a ledge, and he blocked my shot to the gas station. So like, yeah, it bounced across the street and went to the gas station. I guess that's the memory I have from like those kind of road trips.
Yeah.
And playing for Breakaway, the thing I remember most is just like the competition level, playing against top guys all the time. You send me the questions. So we get into more specific memories about that later. But no, Breakaway was a lot of fun as well. Those road trips were a lot of fun too. Having more freedom being older.
Okay. Playing for, a top team tier like Breakaway. Do you have any like favorable matchups? Like, do you remember playing against a particular player and you were just like, man, like, 'cause competition level is always high playing for teams like that. Do
Mhm.
you have like toughest matchups, favorite matchups that you may have faced already?
So I got a few names when it comes to that. This kid named Jim. Well, three. So a kid named Jamarion Bateman. He played for Power Five. I think he's committed to Iowa
Okay.
State. Kid named Xavier Mitchell. He plays for Team Hero. I think he's also committed to Iowa State. And then Davis Fogel. He goes to Arizona Compass, and he plays for Gonzaga. Or he's committed to Gonzaga. So I played against Jamarion 16U year. He played for Power Five. That team had, I think, an all Division One starting lineup. And this kid, I had no idea who he was, but like he's supposed to be one of the best shooters in the country. Apparently, I didn't know that, but he hit like 5 or 6 threes. We were no helping him. It didn't really matter. And it's not like his form is textbook either. And he's kind of like, I don't know, kind of awkward. So you just don't expect that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
Xavier Mitchell, he's 6'7", but he's more of a big. He's not really a wing, but he has one of the best motors I've ever seen. Man, just he's not like crazy skilled, but just he's effective.
Yeah.
20 and 10, like no matter what. EYBL didn't really matter. And then Davis Fogel. Now we were in our like end of circuit tournament in July
Hmm.
this 17U year, and he gamed me. He's, like I said, committed to Gonzaga. He's not a well, he might be a good shooter now, but when we played him, we had a stats. We were like, oh, he shoots like 20% from three. We're gonna play the drive. So at the end of the game, I'm coming down. He was frying us the whole game. And so we had like 25. We threw like 5, 6 people at him. We were trying we were playing good defense. He's just hitting tough shots.
He had
Um,
to get the shots. Yeah.
yeah, we're like, he's not that great of a shooter. He comes down volleyball line, he pull for game, and yeah, that one stings me like to
That
this
was
day.
an eye opener right there,
Yeah.
huh?
I was like, this kid is
Oh,
different level game.
yeah. Man, but now great player, especially if you're going to Gonzaga. Like, you definitely got to be
Mhm.
a top talent to even consider Gonzaga. For you, playing for OPRF, a great program. Just take us through, just your high school career, man. What did you expect coming into high school? Like I said, you played varsity for 3 years straight. What were some of the pros and cons that you kind of went through in your career? Playing high school ball.
Yeah, so coming into it, I kind of thought I was going to be on varsity as a freshman, which I mean,
Hmm.
I always like to set high goals for myself, but
Right,
played
right, right.
played a shortened season freshman year because that was the tail end of COVID. I think
Oh,
we played
that's right. That's
like
right.
14
Okay.
games or whatever. I played all right there. I averaged about like 15, but then varsity, college varsity sophomore year, played summer league there. Sophomore year I came in like I started like half the games. Averaged like 6, 7 points per game, and then build more. Junior year average 15, and then senior year average 19, around there, 19, 20. So it was just building. And it was a lot of fun to see myself progress like that.
For sure.
Yeah. And what was the second part of the question again?
What was some of like the pros and cons that you may have had? You know what I mean? We always have with everything in life, there's always a good and a bad, but it could be a learning experience, like a pros and cons that you may have, felt.
Yeah, no, it was definitely way more pros than cons. The only cons I'd say is always having commitment. Not really having much time to myself in season.
Right.
I learned how to deal with that. I learned how to enjoy it. Like I'd rather have something to do than just be sitting at home, doing
For
nothing.
sure.
But
For sure.
obviously, the pros, you make a lot of friends, you have a lot of fun, and then you just play. You just play, and that's
Sure.
yes.
For sure. Play ball. I didn't even think about that, but how was playing, the second half of the season during COVID year? You know what I mean? Where the world kind of was different. Games got suspended. They shortened the season. What was that like playing in the COVID year, man? I know that was crazy, especially as a high school kid.
Yeah, I wasn't on varsity when that happened. Things like I said, I was a freshman, but it
Hmm.
wasn't too weird. I just remember those like mask timeouts and stuff, having to play with the mask. It was some refs and
Yeah.
some didn't. It was just something you learn to deal with. And like we got our holiday tournament canceled because we had like a COVID outbreak on the team, so that kind of sucked. The
Dang.
main thing is just like worrying about getting sick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not very fun. Other than that, it wasn't too different.
For sure. For sure. Okay. For you, you know what I mean? How has like kind of the recruiting process started? Like when did it really start for you? When did schools really, kind of, contact you and things like that?
Yeah, so I first started getting like a bunch of attention my 16U year, like that when like they can start recruiting, and then
Hmm.
like that kind of tapered off during the season. My 17U year, I didn't get as much attention as I was expecting, like breakout, all that stuff. It was kind of weird to deal with. Um, yeah, but then it started picking back up again during my senior season. Actually, like I had a visit yesterday at Whitewater. I got a visit on Friday with North Central. Got some calls and stuff lined up. So I'm just like hoping to make my decision soon, but it was just super late for me, which I didn't really expect.
Yeah. Now, you making, this choice because it's definitely, it started your career. What are kind of some of the things you really look for in a program before you decide, like, okay, I'm gonna go there?
So I'd say first thing is academics, but that's a separate thing. On the basketball side, it's the culture, because I've been places, whether it's AU, even school, sometimes where not everyone's bought in, and I could not stand that. So I really need to go to
Mm,
a place where everyone is like 100% committed to getting better and winning games.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, that's what I really really need, because if you do that, the wins will come eventually.
For
So that's
sure.
what I'm looking for.
For sure. Like I know I spoke on that you have a 4.7 GPA. You're a top talent basketball player. Just take us through, how do you really go about your day to day? Obviously, you're on top of your schoolwork, but how do you also make time to, make sure you work on your craft and you're getting better also?
No, there's a lot of late nights. Like I have time now, obviously now that season's over, but in season, I guess during AU season, so it was continuous. It's just a lot of late nights because obviously you wake up, go to school. Sometimes I do morning workouts, but like I said, I stay up late, so that's not really something I was able to do a lot. Go to school, come home, I take a nap, and then go either to practice or to AU practice, school practice or AU practice. Then I'd stay after and shoot, or AU.
Right.
Our practices were really, really hard, so I'd be spent. I try to do something else during that day, maybe like do some plyometrics, do something else, do some ball handling before practice. Try to do two things a day, and then come home, and then I gotta do my schoolwork. I try to do as much as I can in school, but that's just not always possible. So sometimes you just gotta
Right.
sacrifice your sleep and suck it up and move on.
That's tough. I like that. I like that. That's dope to have. For you, you don't have to be, too personal at all. But is there something that particularly like happened in your life, some adversity that you had to overcome that kind of made you who you are now?
Oh yeah, look, I haven't really faced much adversity, which I'm thankful for. But the most I had was my 17U year. Like that was that whole experience. I wouldn't don't want to call it a bad experience, but it was a tough experience for sure.
Sure.
Because my 16 year with Breakaway, I was either the best player or the second best player on that team. It was like pretty obvious. And then we come in, he brings in a whole new starting five basically, and then he puts his returning 16 guys on the bench. So like my minutes were up and down. Sometimes I played 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes I played 5. I even got a DNP one time, which is the first time in my life that ever happened. Like I'd never
Wow.
happen again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really really tough for me, but it taught me a lot about just like dealing with adversity and staying the course. I'm happy I did because the effects I got a lot better, but it didn't really show in season in AAU season. It showed after during
Right.
the season. Yeah.
Right. That's a dope trait to have because being young like that and you're still learning, you could have easily quit, you could have gave up, you could have went to another team. You know what I mean? But you kept your head on straight and you're looking at the positive side of it. So I respect to you on that, bro, for sure. Now I want to get into the kind of the red hot seat questions, bro. Kind of get to know you a little bit more, kind of put you on the spot. Um, if you could play 1-on-1 versus anybody in the world, who would it be?
Uh, right now, I either say Luca or Shea.
Mm,
I just want to see what it's like at the highest level. Two of the best scorers in our game. Also, it's a little confusing to me how they score because Luca's slower and Shea is not super explosive. I would just like to feel how they
yeah,
offensively.
for sure, for sure. For you, who do you consider your NBA GOAT?
I'd like to say Michael Jordan, but I think people confuse greatest and best player all the time. Like I think LeBron is the most complete basketball player we've ever seen in terms of just dribble,
For
pass,
sure,
shoot, play defense. But in terms of resume and legacy, I think Michael Jordan is the best we've had.
for sure. Respect. For you, if you could have 5 dinner guests, dead or alive, where you could just sit at the table, just pick the brain, conversate, who
Um,
would that 5 be at your table?
I'm a big history guy, so I'll probably go Malcolm and Martin for
Mm,
2, and have my dad, for the 3rd because he's kind of the one who introduced me to those people, so I wanted to be there with me. And for the last 2, I'd do my dad's uncle because he told me, or I think it was his great uncle, maybe it was his uncle, I'm not sure, but he
okay.
always had a lot of stories about him, and I would just like to meet him. And then for my last guess, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll just bring my mom in there because why not?
Hey, round it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
might as well. For you, for this question, I'm going to give you where did it go? So I'm going to give you 2 players, and however you want to look at it, rather you who you think is better, who would you rather have on your team? You just give me whoever you would pick. Starting off, Bron or MJ,
Jordan,
AI or D Wade.
give me D Wade. Hey, I saw some earlier today. It was about James Harden versus Dwayne Wade, and I think that's a no brainer personally. Like I choose Dwayne Wade every single time. But people act like people disrespect Dwayne Wade a lot for me, and I don't appreciate it. It's like people forget 2006 happened, and I don't
Yeah,
understand that.
facts,
Anyways, you could keep going.
facts. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Melo or Paul Pierce.
Give me Carmelo.
There we go. My guy, my guy. Shea or Ant Man.
Uh, yeah, I think Shea's a little better. I'll take Shea.
Okay, Luca or Joker.
Jokic,
Giannis or Embiid.
Giannis,
Okay, and then last one, Steph or Kyrie.
Steph. My God, dude, I think Kyrie is the most overrated basketball player in history, or up there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't. People that shot, dude. That's hard carry to end his whole career, man. Like it's he's people act like dribbling and shooting makes you better when there's people who are nowhere near as good as him that are more effective. Like it's cool
Oh
you can
my
get
God, bro.
score tough buckets, but like come on, man. It gets to a point. It gets to a point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna debate that, bro. That was crazy. We're gonna debate that. We go, but it's your opinion, bro. It's your opinion. For you, bro, talking about your career, it may be kids coming up behind you that kind of may have a similar story, to what you've had. If you could give any advice to any kids growing up right now, like I said, who's gonna have a similar story, to you, what would be the advice that you would give them?
I'd say do your work early because I I didn't really do that. That's because I didn't start taking basketball serious till later. But I
Right.
definitely say to do your work early because if you can be really, really good when you're younger, or just have that develop that work ethic when you're younger, it makes things a lot easier for you because you have all these opportunities and access to these better resources instead of having to claw your way and get up there eventually. So if you do your work early, it just sets you up to have a lot simpler path to where you want to go.
For sure. For sure. And then the last one I have for you, Brody, is if you could recommend anybody to have on the show, that you think may have a story that can help people or just to get their story out there, who would it be? Who would
Uh,
you recommend?
yeah, no, I'd choose my center, Alex Vincent, for sure. Just
Okay.
yeah, it's my guy, but I'd like to hear his perspective about some of these similar things, because he had a slightly different story, or not slightly, very different story than me. He's always been
Okay.
big, and he was always better than people. So
For
it's
sure.
cool
For
to hear.
sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tap in with him. I'm gonna talk to PG. We're gonna set that up, man. So for sure. But Alex, bro, man, like I said, I appreciate you again, bro, taking time out of your day. Like I said, I'm a fan of your game. Best of luck to you and whatever you have coming. It's all love for me, man. So good luck to you the rest of the way, bro. I appreciate you.
I mean, I appreciate you.
For sure, bro. Have a good one.
All right, you too.